Hey guys, I don't know if it's easy to hear me or not because it's windy, but I'm currently in Aruba, which is really cool. Here for the next week for spring break. But I had somebody ask about the app development yesterday, so I'll explain a couple of things because I noticed as soon as I started talking about developing apps, the views for some reason spiked. So I'm guessing it's YouTube's attempt at targeting using the transcripts of the videos. So if you're watching this because of the iOS apps that I've been developing, I'll tell you my stack really quick. So I don't have any, I'm not a programmer, so I understand the code, but I don't know how to write it. It's like, it's really windy. It's like understanding a language when you hear it, but not being able to speak it. Same idea. Not perfectly either, like very beginner. But I understand the elements, and so I use Swift UI programming language for iOS apps. It's Apple's native. It's the cleanest, best thing you can get. Besides that, I use Supabase for a backend for data storage and authorization, so you can get Apple and Google authorization. It lets users sign in easier. And then I use Claude for coding, so you can create an Xcode project, which is basically VS Code for Apple. Get Xcode, create a new project, and then open that project file in Claude Code. And it's very, very well trained on Swift. And so you can basically just explain to it the purpose of the app, and you can attach screenshots. It'll build the UI. That's the easy part. It's easier if you know the UI elements. So like sheets, tabs, switches, all the specific terminology. So like some people might call it a pop-up, but like in Swift it's called a context menu. So like you need to know the specifics, otherwise the AI will done goof. But that's pretty simple to know. You can look up a YouTube video on that. But once you know that, I mean, it's really simple. Like I've been messing around. It's just vibe coding essentially. Like you treat it more as a business than coding. Like the ideas are more valuable than the actual programming because it's super easy because AI can do it. Now, where things get a little bit finicky is the back end linking to the front end. So you need RLS in Supabase, which basically just makes it so that people can't hack your app and steal the data to a point. Basically just locks certain data so that people can't hack other people's accounts or access it without a password. But once you have that up, sign up for the Apple Developer Program, App Store Connect, and then you can make an app. You can simulate it on your iPhone. You can use the app on your iPhone, and then when it's fully functional, and Claude has a direct integration with Supabase for the backend where the data is stored. And so you can just attach these two and just say, hey, make me a to-do-list app where there's an off screen to sign in, sync this with a backend Supabase database, create a new project for this. It'll do it all, and the app will work. You can sign in, you can add to-do list items, it'll store it in the database, etc. Now, where things get a little bit more complicated is when you actually want to put it into the App Store. So Apple's a little bit finicky about it. They are really big on user data, which is no surprise. So you have to do a lot of disclosures. You have to explain why you're using certain data, why you're collecting it. You have to give reasons for why you're accessing people's location or Face ID or anything. There's also a really cool function at Xcode. It's great with Apple where you can add subscriptions that are charged directly to the person's Apple ID account, like the ones you see in typical subscription apps. It's like one prompt of Claude can implement it. Then on Apple, you have to give a reason for why you're charging a certain amount, what you're getting for it, disclose the difference between free and premium. And then besides that, you have to have a website for the app that people can go to for support. And then you need to have a example login that Apple can actually use to log into the app to actually use the app. So it's just like a John Doe account. Besides that, you just have to make sure there's no bugs. But yeah, I mean, besides, like, that's pretty much all straightforward. So I pay $100 a month for the Claude because it eats up the tokens really bad. But yeah, if you are smart about it, you can get away with the $20 a month. But I use the 100 and it's the best thing ever. I never run out of, and I can make about an app, like a fully functional iOS app, in 20 hours of focused work. So once every week or two, really once a week. I mean, if I work full time and like go crazy, I could probably make 2 in a week, but then the apps are not high quality. And yeah, but Most of it though is just experience. So I know how to prompt the AI, I know what it responds well to, I know the language that it responds well to, and I understand it very well. And I know how to use screenshots. I know how to prompt it so that it doesn't run out of tokens, so it uses less tokens. And it's just those things that matter more so. Like, you can tell the AI to make the app, but it's about making the app look good and function well without errors. That is key. And if you don't know how to prompt it correctly and you don't know how to use it right, or you're not familiar with Swift or Xcode or the terminology they might use, it's just not going to work. And you'll familiarize yourself with this by trying and failing to make iOS apps. I've probably tried to make 8 different apps and failed them, and now I'm able to actually make apps. It took me a year and a half to get here, but you could probably learn it in 6 months if you really had to. But yeah, that's my full tech stack. I use Claude for the coding. I use Xcode for actually making the Swift files. I open them in Claude. I use Supabase for the backend, which links straight to Claude in the database, so it can just integrate with the backend seamlessly. And then for asset generation, I use Lovable for the website. And it's super easy because I have a student plan, so it's like $12 a month for basically infinite usage. And I use GPT Image for asset generation, which is absolutely unprecedented and most people don't know about it. So if you want to make logos or really creative assets, ChatGPT is the best by far at creating creative original images. It's really windy here. But yeah. If anybody has any questions, comment them. I'll answer. I was considering, I don't want to be a course seller ever, so I want to actually provide value, but over time I'm probably going to throw together a bunch of SOPs for how I make the apps and everything that I know. And maybe we'll make it a free document, free community. I don't really know. But I don't want to use this channel for advertising in any way. I want it to be raw. So if I ever do that, I'll probably just make a new channel for it. Or if people clearly want me to include it. But nothing on this channel is ever going to involve payment. So just ask any questions. But yeah, right now I'm working on developing an iOS app. I'm learning to use AI, APIs, and figure out how all that works. But basically, you take a picture of a grocery list that you wrote down, or write it down directly in the app, and it will prompt AI to search your specific zip code for the stores near you to find what the estimated prices are of the products at the selected stores. So if you usually go to Costco, Publix, and Walmart, it'll find where that item is the cheapest of those 3, and then categorize it based on there, and then it'll split it up. So typically the price difference between stores is $1 to $2 per item. So people usually buy 20 to 30 items per week. And so if I properly categorize that 90% of the time, I'm saving people, I don't even know what the math is on that, $50 to $100 a week, depending on how much you buy in groceries. Like, if you can save $2 by going to Walmart versus Costco, then, and it's 90% of the time accurate, then on average I'm saving you $1.80 per item. So $1.80 per item, 100 items per month is $180 a month that I would be saving people on groceries just by using AI. And I really just developed this because I want to use it, because I really want a grocery list app and I can't find any that I like, so I made my own. But I will happily give you guys like a demo of it if anybody shows any interest in it whatsoever. I'll explain how it works and everything. I'll show you the back end, the front end, how I did it. I'll show you what it looks like. I'll show you literally the insides and outs of the app if you would like. But yeah, let me know. But that's everything. If you have questions, comment them. Otherwise, I will talk to you tomorrow.